So, today, you guys might be shocked. You guys might be in shock and awe right now. Because I'm normally one of the biggest critics of Christie Sides. And I want to say this right now. This is a video that I said I was going to make. Do I think that Christie Sides is the best coach in the world? No, I don't. Do I think she's got some major flaws in her coaching? Yes. Do I think she's got some major flaws in her understanding of how to utilize this team? Yes. Do I think she is the worst coach in the WNBA? Definitely not. But also, when it comes to Christie Sides, this is where the apology comes from, because there were definitely things that I have said earlier on in the year that are just objectively false, and it is very, very clear from watching these games that some of the things that I said were false. And when you are somebody that's going to talk about things, you can only really talk in the moment, and sometimes things may appear true in the moment. Heck, sometimes things may be true in the moment, but as time goes on, people's coaching philosophies change, people's playing philosophies change. Just like I'll always say this, I've never changed an opinion on someone as quick as Kelsey Mitchell post-Olympic break. But when it comes to Christie Sides, you can see, just even looking at her on the sidelines right now, compared to at the start of the year, it seemed like, I don't know, maybe she was looking at the media too much. Maybe she had it in her head. Maybe she was nervous coaching Caitlin Clark. Maybe she thought, I'm going to have a 3 or 4 year chance to rebuild this team. And all of a sudden, oh crap, we're expected to win and we're 1-9. And she then started trying to rein in Caitlin Clark from the very start. Maybe she thought that Caitlin Clark was a flawed basketball player, which it appeared she did initially. And in fairness, I will say, Caitlin Clark is not a flawless basketball player. And I cannot stress that enough. Like, people are like, oh, she's just objectively unbelievable. No, she's the best in the world at multiple things. She's not a flawless player. The problem is, though, is as a coach, you've got to realize, which Lisa Bluter did, is you've got to play to her strengths. Because she's not a player where you can try to rein in. Because if you rein in Caitlin Clark, she's not playing to her strengths. And reining her in exposes her weaknesses more than it highlights her strengths. And Caitlin Clark is a player that will do the spectacular, but is also, look, she is error prone. Like, she makes more errors, but that's just basketball. The more spectacular things you do, the more errors you make. And the problem is, if you try to make Caitlin Clark make less mistakes, she stops doing as much good. And the good she does drastically outweighs the bad. So you would obviously rather that just over the totality of the game. But it's very clear, as far as chemistry is concerned, her chemistry with the players is good. It's very clear as far as, you can see with this team, like, it's very different when they're losing, but you can see this team's chemistry is good. You can see Christie Sides herself post-Olympic break was more relaxed. And I think that her pre-game, the way that this team goes into games, I think they're prepped very well pre-game. I think we saw it with, like, over the break, her working on the team chemistry. I think she actually knows what she's doing. I just think she is quite poor when it comes very specifically to in-game adjustments. I think she is as bad a coach as I've seen as far as making in-game adjustments. When another team makes an adjustment, she really struggles to live with it. She really struggles to deal with other teams making in-game adjustments. And I feel like that is that's my huge issue with Christie Sides as a coach still. Because we've seen when teams go into certain junk zones, certain zones, Indiana just look lost. Where it's like, they're not prepped. Not even that they're not prepped, like, they very rarely say call a timeout, and she still seems shocked when teams adjust. When teams stop Indiana's A game, they don't really have that B game that well. And not only that, they don't have a game to stop the other team's B game defense, if you get me. But I do think they go out tactically pretty well in games. I think when it comes to Christie Sides, I think her rotations have gotten better. And look, she knows these players better than I do. And, like, I'll say this right now, like, there are certain players on the team where it's like, it's hard putting them in because you know what they're capable of, but sometimes they just don't show up. And it's the two players that I would really say that for, or players that I would say that for, are Nalissa Smith, Demiris Dantas, and Katie Lou Samuelson, is that you don't know what versions of those three are going to show up. When they're at their best, when Nalissa Smith's at her best, she's an all-star. When Katie Lou or Demiris Dantas are at their best, they're these elite shooting stretch players that will play a little bit of defense. But it's like, they both have major weaknesses and you just don't really know. And obviously it's very easy in hindsight when you're watching a game from the TV screen to say X player shouldn't be in, X player should be in. And she's made some calls, some wrong calls. She's made some right calls. I thought leaving Demiris Dantas in the game I thought it was a wrong call at the time against Dallas. It turned out to be a genius call by Christie Sides. So we're now seeing her make decisions that it's like even some risky decisions. But you can see even with the risky decisions, she's still going there to win games. She's going out to win games. She is going out there, making calls. She's taking chances in herself. She's allowing Caitlin to be Caitlin. And heck, she literally she was saying it, she was like, she basically had a meeting with Caitlin Clark saying, what do we need to do? How do we need to play? And that type of adaptability where it's like, and it's the one thing Lynn Dunn really was saying about Christie Sides is that she's always trying to get better. She's always trying to get better as far as coaches are concerned, or as far as like coaching is concerned. She's always trying to learn more about the sport of basketball and how to get better and how to win. And that's a big thing for a coach. And I can see why she was so highly regarded as an assistant coach. I think that everything she has shown this year has shown why she was so highly regarded in that other role. I still think she may not be a championship head coach. But at the same time, I thought that about Eric Spoelstra at Miami. I'm a Heat fan. I was Team Fire Spo in 2011, 2012. I did not think Eric Spoelstra was going to be that championship coach, and Pat Riley obviously believed in him. He got better. And look, got to give credit where credit's due. She has improved drastically as the season has gone on. Her interviews have been better. She's been more positive. She's been more positive about her team. She's talked down on her team less. I know it's easier when you're winning, but even like coming into the Olympic break, how much more relaxed she was over the Olympic break. And maybe it was just really stressful. Maybe it was super, super stressful to start the season where you suddenly have this brand new expectation. And look, it was very clear she had not a fucking clue how to coach Caitlin Clark. Like that was very obvious early in the game, or early in the year. Like everything she knew about the sport of basketball, Caitlin was the opposite. But it's very clear she is now allowing this team to play their best way. And look, it does seem like there are some players that may not be the biggest fan of her. Like Nalissa Smith, obviously. We've seen some of the tweets from her brother. She can't stand Christie Sides. Do I think she's the best coach in the W? No. But the fact is, she's probably going to be second in Coach of the Year. That's just the truth. You're surely give it to Cheryl Reeve. It's not out of the realm of possibility for Christie Sides to be Coach of the Year. And that's the truth. Like, she probably won't be, but it's not out of the realm of possibility for Christie Sides to be Coach of the Year. And I cannot stress that enough. Christie Sides, I do want to apologize because I thought there was no hope of this team getting a winning record with Christie Sides. I thought the way this team played basketball was awful. And I still think she's majorly flawed in the fact that sometimes she hasn't fully bought into it. Like when they go ahead, they try to slow games down. But we saw the last two games, when they pull games out late, they just win them. When they're pulling away late, they just go and win. They take over in the fourth. But it's when they have that 20-point lead, suddenly it's like, I'm scared to coach. I'm not even scared to coach. It's like, I'm scared to lose this lead. And that's where it's like, I do think I wish she had a little bit more courage when it came to coaching, but she has made some coaching calls that have showed that she does have that courage. Like that Dantas call in the Dallas game was what I thought was one of the dumbest things she could have done, and you could argue that won them the game. At Dammers, Dantas, Leah Boston on the floor together in that fourth quarter. But anyway, yeah, that is the video. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching, and Christie Sides, I apologize. I do apologize. Like, this is not like saying I didn't feel like I had merit in what I said at the time. Based on what I saw, I said what I said. And based over a long period of time, what I saw, I said what I said. But without question, she's a significantly better coach than I gave her credit for.